Introducing Japan's latest attempt to up their declining marriage rate, Tonikawa Over the Moon for You is this season's premier wholesome rom-com. Hello, I'm Zeosphere, and today we'll be going over Tonikawa's story, characters, music, animation, and overall fun factor to see if it'll put you over the moon or into the sun. But right before we get into it, please look at this chart and remember, you have to subscribe. You just have to. You did it? Good. On to the video. Nasa Yuzaki, named after America's space program, is walking home one night before being introduced to the show's starter herself, Truck-kun. Before being saved from his potential Demon King slaying adventure by the girl he tried to call out just a moment before. Battered, bloody, and horny, he crawls away from the crime scene in order to try and ask out his adorable savior. When he finally does, she responds by accepting him on the condition that he marries her first. And like a horny high school student trying to get some from the resident Catholic school hottie, he accepts without a second thought, which is good because he passes out almost immediately afterwards. Years later, after thinking that maybe the entire event was just a dream, Tsukasa, the girl that saved him all those years ago, appears on his doorstep ready to go through with that promise. The episodes that follow simply follow the day-to-day life of newlyweds that also haven't really gotten to know each other yet. It's a mix of awkward virgin first loves and what it really means to commit living with someone for the rest of your life. You can view this as being cute and wholesome, or weird and concerning when you realize that Tsukasa is only 16 and ran away from home to be with this guy she just met once 2 years ago. But this is anime and I choose to try and not think about these things too hard because look how cute this scene is. Oh, aren't they so relatable and awkward and adorable? Oh, hey, look at this cute kid and ignore that the Chinese have concentration camps of ethnic Muslim minorities. Oh, look how cute and genocidal it is. Anyway, that's really all there is in the story department. Cute slice of life with a focus on marriage and what it means to be both legally married as well as all life commodities and future planning that naturally would go along with that, like a strong first glimpse into the process of pretty much every newlywed goes through when navigating a new life with each other. There is also a subplot of maybe Tsukasa's reincarnation of Kaguya, not from Love and War, but from the ancient Japanese mythos, though that is not really relevant, but a cool point to show considering that the many metaphorical jokes about the moon this show makes. Overall, the plot is serviceable and gets the grounds for all the typical slice of life episodes you come to expect, but with enough of a twist that feels refreshing and new. Now the characters is what really allows the show to flourish in this desolate year of 2020. Most of our time is going to be centered around the interactions between Nasa and Tsukasa Yuzaki as they gradually learn each other's needs, tics, quirks, and small infuriating habits that will inevitably lead to their divorce. Either way, this would really take place way before that happens because effectively the relationship maturity between these two would be no different than the day after a high school Chad married a big-titted Catholic girl. Yes, you're pure in the eyes of Arceus, but do either of you know how to be fruitful and multiply? This above average wholesomeness and surprisingly lewd interactions between these two will make or break the enjoyment of the show for the casual viewer. Nasa is the main protagonist and resident genius handyman that is all specced into book smarts and modern living skills, but without much in the way of social awareness. He's awkward but is able to be composed enough to charm his suspiciously expanding female friend group. Tsukasa is more reserved but tries her best in order to fulfill the societal expected role of a wife and steer Nasa and herself through all the necessary phases for an established relationship. She might be the most interesting character in the entire show because there is the most amount of questions about her. Why did she want to marry Nasa? Why did she run away from home? Nasa wasn't the only person she saved from near death. Where does this heroic personality come from? These are questions that inhabit the back of our mind while we witness her being what weebs fantasize her waifus being with her husband. There are also multiple other side characters like the Arasugawa family that runs the bathhouse and Tsukasa's little, not blood related sister Chitose. I'm particular towards Kaname myself as a lot of the good character comedy comes from her interactions with Nasa. But other than her, the rest of the side characters really never resonate with me or frankly just weren't really in the story enough to be cared for. This show is basically all in on Nasa and Tsukasa, which leads me to think they're cute, relatably shaken when the realities of living with each other rise up, and quirky enough to play decently off each other for comedic purposes. But while the foundation of the deep characterization has been established, there is neither a payoff for it or a deeper meaning behind their struggles with each other. Maybe I'm not someone who can really enjoy something as lighthearted as this without something to ground it, but I feel there's a greater potential with the show that just isn't being tapped into. The OP is Koi no Yuta by Yunomi. It's this relaxing electronic trap song that gradually builds until the halfway point where it instantly starts to slap. Let's be honest, if you've seen this show, you've never skipped the OP because this is one of the oddest but best openings I've heard all year. I feel like it doesn't exactly fit the expectations of a show like Tonikawa Kawaii, but it fits for that reason that it is able to stand out so amazingly. The ending is Suki to Horoshizora by Kano Rana. Now the ending is much more in line with the show, I think, with how grand and smooth it is with a J-pop band mixed with strings, constant piano, and bells that ring home the fact that this is about marriage. I'd say an almost perfect ending song for the show. While it might not be landing its way into my playlist, it will land a spot and something I respect for its ability to capstone something so perfectly. The overall background OST is a subtle thing. Beyond the first episode, you really won't notice it that much or find yourself jamming to any tracks while a scene plays out, but listening to it by itself, what you get is a very soothing and light playlist of heavily reverberant acoustic guitars, woodwinds, and strings. Honestly, if you are looking for something to play while studying, this might be something to look into. In the context of the show, though, I think it reflects the lighthearted cuteness of the show well enough to not be a negative. If there ever was an audible thing that would be a negative about the show, it would be the cheap, overused sound effects that they use in Tonikawa. It might not be music, but it's sound, and I need a section to pinch because oh my, these effects are notably bad. Music-wise though, very good. Okay, let's rip the band-aid off real quick. You know the animation isn't very good. It's serviceable enough to not be too visually boring with the everyday grind that these characters go through, but come on man, this is from 7 Arcs. Literally never made a standout show until now, besides maybe Arte, but I've already made a review on that and my impressions on that has not changed in the animation department whatsoever. With Tonikawa, there isn't too much improvement, but it's enough to not be boring. There isn't a lot of dynamic movement, there's a lot of cutting corners with choppy cuts, and the comedy heavily relies on pulling off the quick cut to reaction JPEG and maybe shakes a bit and returns to the normal scene. It's not to say it's bad, it's just not good. You're here for cute anime girls and a wholesome story, not so much the animation. Alright, this is the moment this show shines. If we are all being honest with ourselves, there really hasn't been a lot of big banger originals coming out of 2020 as a whole. Between the cancellations and pushback dates for a ton of shows, this year hasn't been too kind with any real community shaping shows, and Tonikawa is a result of a lot of things. It's so popular at the end of this terrible year, more than likely because at its core, it's this feel-good, wholesome, funny, wrap you in a cozy jacket type of show. It's something you're going to watch and enjoy because it takes you away from the world and presents you something that's unapologetically all about the good vibes with a couple that is always on this loving wavelength with each other. Anime is a form of escapism, and this show is able to be the feel-good fluffy that many of us have needed for a while. This is all to say that Tonikawa Over the Moon for you excels at drawing you into this unusual world of young newlyweds loving each other. Hell, you even get to see them kiss. Like, multiple times. It knows the situation that these characters are in and capitalizes on it with how we get to see them gradually getting more comfortable with being with each other and expanding each other's horizons and perspectives. I'd be lying if I were to say that I didn't enjoy the show thoroughly and allowed it to carry me through a life of unconditional love and silly high school shyness and doubt. Good vibes. When all is said and done, Tonikawa Over the Moon for you is a light feel-good show to carry you through this holiday season to a hopefully slightly better year for the world and anime in general. Averaging all of our scores, we come to a final score of 7.3 out of 10. A great show to relax to at the end of a hard day, and a great choice for those that love rom-coms. For alternate recommendations, if you're looking for a wholesome comedy, then I believe Kakushi Goda would be a great pick for you to explore the summer season with. For something else a bit more hard into the rom-com element, then if you've already seen Kaguya Lovers War, which you should, then have a nice laugh at Rent-a-Girlfriend. Thanks for watching. I'm Sphere and I make regular anime content. I say that, but I haven't been too inspired recently. I mean, when you make yourself watch literally every show in a season, especially a season that doesn't have too many hard hitters, it leaves you burned out, you know? So expect the next couple reviews being about the shows I genuinely enjoyed, and remember to like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment so I can get that sweet engagement. And until next time, stay cultured.